Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Live Vibe Coding with Will Melton. I'm Will Melton, your host. This is a Channel RVA production. We do this every weekend on Saturday at 1, Sunday at 10. If you want to learn to vibe code, this is the stream to watch. Today I'm going to be going a little bit more to the basics and teaching you what it's all about. And we're also going to build a cool tool.
You're tuned into Channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
If you're in Richmond and you missed the party last night, we celebrated First Friday uh, in style at West Broad Studios. We had a great time. Over 100 people came out to celebrate with us, and I am still paying the price for it. So I'm going to be a little bit slow today, but in any event, head over to channelrva.com if you're not a subscriber. We're doing a lot to keep pushing the envelope of innovation in media with Channel RVA. A lot I could talk about there, but you can check it out on your own. This is RVA Art, which is part of Channel RVA. We have some more work to do in getting this populated with art from around Richmond. So if you have photos, high quality photos of murals, send them my way. But we're really here because I'm building 52 apps this year, and as a way to learn and grow and empower my company, my personal abilities. You can see it all here. I've got one to add to this from last time we were together. So I'm going to do that right now just to bring you back to what we were doing last month, or excuse me, last week. Lovable is the app. In the description, you can see a link to get 10 free credits on Lovable. I like to build there. There are other tools out there that you can build with, but this is where I landed, and it has become quite a favorite platform of mine. So I'm going to publish this real quick, and we'll get this added into the mix. For a while there, I was making all my apps in light mode and dark mode so that the background would capture the light mode and the dark mode so that when you switch between light mode and dark mode on this site, it would give you a light mode image on the site. So you'd see it here. I think this one might be an example where you see it switch over. Um, the depths that I go to try to bring some interesting details and experiences to people is pretty deep because I think those things matter. But when you build something like that, it becomes maintenance. It's something you've got to do. So the question is, do I build a dark mode on the common measure, or do I just rock with it? I think I'm going to rock with it. So let me get this website here. And I've built as a means to improve my workflows. I've built an ingester so I can import from a URL. It's going to grab all the stuff that matters. I'm going to go in there and populate the date, but that will update my count. It'll show up on the front end, and I can also tie it back to the live stream that I did so that you can actually go back and look at the video where I built that thing. So I could probably automate this a little bit more and just have it populate the app from the video, but I don't always have it published. I don't have an app for every video. Sometimes it's multiple days. So we've got that created. I'm just going to go in here and drop a date on it so that we can move into today's build. I don't know if that was, I think that was last Sunday. And this is the right one, but it's not the right description. So as one of the things that happens in my workflow is I have to update the title and description of each of my shows. And different tools have the last show's description baked into it. So I end up having to, sometimes it picks up the previous one. And I don't know, it's a little bit wonky. I should find a better solution. But I don't plan to vibe code forever. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to build something that teaches you the building blocks of coding so that you can be a better communicator around the applications that you need. Because even if you're not the one building, knowing what's possible is really important. So I don't know what I'm doing today exactly, but I'm going to go ahead and give a prompt to Claude because that is the starting place for me. I have a project. I already have a chat started because I. That's not it. This is it. I have the description for today's live stream. So just so you can get a little bit behind the scenes on this, I've been having some conversations with people lately about teaching people the skills they need for tomorrow's jobs. And quite frankly, I need people to have those skills before they come to work for my company. And if you are somebody who is looking for a job and you want to work for my company and you saw this video and you told me that you watched it, it would definitely give you a boost in your ability to get the job because it tells me that you're willing to take your time to learn the things that matter. And that's not, that's directed to those people who are looking for those jobs. But the reality is, if you know these things before you come to work for me, it's going to make it a lot better. It's going to take me less time and money to train you, and that's a good thing in business. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and start talking, and I'll give this prompt, and then we can take a look at what it builds. So some of the things that I want to be able to do here, we need to be able to take people through the entire kind of what it is sort of scenario, like what we're doing here. Like it starts with the cloud, and the cloud we could describe as just a really big computer that's connected to the internet, um, and little chunks of it that are slivered off for your project. And then within your project, you have different technologies deployed on that cloud computer that enable an application to be served up to folks online. We can talk about the domain name system, the DNS, as a layer in all of this because that matters and how that's all wired and how you can get people to go to that application or that website. We're going to stick to primarily just web applications for the sake of this because it's what Lovable builds. I mean, we could do mobile applications too, but that's going further down the road. And then we get into the actual application sort of building tools. So, we can mention Lovable, we can talk about Vercel, and we can mention Cursor and Copilot and all those different VS Code as just examples of different building tools. We need to talk about the application itself. So what gets built is sort of a combination of technologies. It is a database that stores the information. It is a graphical interface that is interactive or informative. It may not be interactive, but it's informative. It is organized. There are multiple views within an application, and within those views, you have multiple components. And the components surface information from the database, transform it into a visual way. Perhaps there is some element of interactivity that needs to be planned, user experience interactivity, uh, which then drives potential further inputs to the database. And sequential, you know, actions that will happen after that interaction happens. So think about a form. When somebody fills out a form, uh, a number of things are going to happen. Somebody's going to get an email notification. Maybe something will pop into Slack. The customer's going to get a notification on screen. The database is going to get updated. Perhaps some other designed action is going to take place. Some other connector, which is another node in the interactive experience. The connector, which we can break down as connector, and what that really is an API.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
And we can talk about how an API can be built for things where connectors don't exist. And then we can talk about MCPs and connectors to tools like Claude. And then we can talk about AI as a key tool in today's building blocks, how AI can be leveraged to transform things in automated sequence. We can talk about, I think it's important to talk about security and authentication and how you can use multiple different modes to authenticate, from username and password to magic links to different connected login services, single sign on offerings. We can talk about the need to build um, an administrative side of the website, or a manager side, an administrative login, and different tools to empower business operators to make changes and operate the site or the application, whatever it is. I think it's important that we maybe talk about the ability to capture payment through these tools as a means to do business, because increasingly business is being done online. And if you're a, you could be any kind of business. You could be a food truck and still leverage an application to do really great things for your business. And you could build your own point of sale system that's fun and different and unique. Not saying that you need to do that, but you can. There's nothing stopping you. Have a little touch screen where people can pick from some options from an iPad, do the whole transaction right there. We've done some really interesting hardware software interactions. That's another thing that we can talk about, is the layer to the physical world. So printers and touch screens. Talk about different media, so interactive media like videos and audio as a means to deliver experiences. We're getting into the weeds on this now, but I think that we'll start with that. And for each one of those things, animation is another one. Animation is a big part of user experience. And then I think one more thing that we want to cover is communication and help. So, how do you communicate what the application does, and how do you navigate people through the application? How do you give them guidance? How do you reduce friction? The way that I want to build this application is I want to make them kind of like lessons almost, where we can explain these things in writing, but more than anything, I want to demonstrate. So we can demonstrate an interactive component, for instance, and what I want to be able to do is, show that component, show, point out its features, and then like a show with the icons maybe, or some kind of fun thing, like a flip card, perhaps. I don't know if that's necessary, but what are all the different things that fuel that function? So I already listed it for forms earlier, but for any one of these things, like what are the different components of it that are needed to make that work so that people can think about that complexity because it's necessary to build. You think you can just talk to an AI agent and it's going to build something for you. You have to have sort of a brain that's wired for it's able to map all these things so that you can deliver a really wonderful experience for people and then allow that application to impact the business. Whether it's supposed to save time, put power in the hands of your customer, empower employees, uh, providing a better experience, or save money, perhaps amplify the efforts, scale, whatever it is. Let's go ahead and create an application with Lovable that meets this objective. Ask me what you want me to know. I can get more elaborate with what the different uh, demonstrations are for each of these things, but uh, there's also the SEO side of things. If it's a front facing website, that could be added in the mix. All right, we're going to stop there. So that was a 9 minutes and 26-second prompt. I've obviously had time to think about this, but I'm also thinking on the fly. So I'm actively trying to figure out how to get it all in there. And my brain is like, it connects the dots. So as I start thinking about one piece in the hierarchy, kind of advance to the next one and think about the tangential pieces to those. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this prompt. It's a big one. And I'm using Sonnet 4.6, which is a low cost model. It's not going to take a lot of compute to do this. It's a solid brain dump, I would say so. I'm going to let that go and take a break, take a little break here because, believe it or not, this can be a little taxing. What are you working on out there in the world? If you're hanging out with me, leave a comment. I'd love to chat with you here. I don't want it to all be boring old Will on a Saturday talking about nerdy stuff. What are you guys doing out there in the world? It's not just what you're building online. There's a real whole world out there of people, great things to do. As I mentioned earlier, we had a great First Friday block party last night. A lot of fun, great company. Didn't get a chance to talk to everybody, but I think everybody had a good time, and we'll keep doing it. So we'll get on the list. Go to channelrva.com, and you can become a subscriber and learn about this really wonky AI-driven service. All right, so a few things. You get to see what the answer to the poll is over here. Flash poll, sneak preview there. The weather is brought in from the National Weather Service, and AI transforms that. Trivia is just a mostly function. It's not a lot of, there's no AI in this. Oh, well, I'll take it back. There's AI in the question generation. This is called. All right, I'm up against some heat over here in street cred. I got to see. I should be able to. I'm gonna do a quick prompt real quick. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Thanks for jumping on. Somebody mentioned your name. Will Willis mentioned your name the other day about how you've been super successful in your vibe coding. and winning awards. That's super cool, man. All right, so I'm gonna go to Claude and I'm gonna give this guy a little prompt. I'm gonna hit my project. Excuse me. I've noticed that it's hard to get to the turf wars from the customized four card personalized experience in Channel RVA. And it should be something that you can see or get
Channel
to from
RVA,
the street cred
the media
history.
hub for independent creators.
Um,
Subscribe at
it should
channelrva.com.
actually live on the game's dashboard all on its own instead of just being the dashboard being a bunch of links that people click on to get out to things. But like, it should be more integrated. So let's do this. Let's do a thoughtful overhaul on the games platform to kind of tie things together a little bit. I noticed that my points history also doesn't have, or street cred history doesn't have the game's vibe to it. And again, the game's platform itself is just more navigation and not enough information. I also think that the badge wall needs to be collapsed with a fade and a link to view more because there's just too much there. It's too much. And I want to improve the turf wars because it should show like historical points. Because right now, if I came to this and saw that there was only two neighborhoods participating, I might be disinclined to participate. But if I can see that these players, they've been active players over the life of street uh, turf wars, and maybe total points is a fun way to have a lasting legacy, if you will. Oh, that's fun. I just had all that and I switched tabs, so I didn't capture it. So what I'm going to have to do is I'll get the transcript from this later and push it through because I'm not going to do all that again. But you can get a sense for how I think about driving improvement on things. I did notice last week that there were multiple people playing Turf Wars, which was a lot of fun to see. You build things and you want people to, well, it's kind of baked in. If you play any of it, if you do anything in this platform, it's going to kind of contribute to your points collection. That was a funny image to go with that news post. One of the hardest things that I have to do on this site is select images automatically with AI in no time. And some of these images come down from the news feed, the event feed that it comes from, but a lot of this stuff is also. Oh yeah, we've got the stuff that our original content has our images. Our contributor content, they have images in their feeds. It's just the articles that have the AI selection of stock images. We don't do any AI generated images on this site. There could be one or two, but generally speaking, we don't use them. Okay, so let's see. Go ahead, use the connector. I should have been building that whole time, but now I have to wait. Let's see what happens. Mm. Yeah, man. I'm loving watching other people build. I have limited time to kind of demo other people's apps, but I do slice off time here and there for people to pop in and see what folks are doing. I could probably do something with this show where I'm bringing people on and having them show off what they're building, and that could be a good way to kind of take the burden off of me and the need to always be building. I could pass this show off to somebody else and keep it alive. And not that I need a legacy here, but if it's helping people, see, we've got somebody else hanging out with us today. If you're out there in the world and you're watching, you can type away on your keyboard, come and say hi, tell us what you're building. I'm in the middle of pushing this project up to Lovable right now, and let's see what's going on over there. It's not going to be much. I build studio. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it super interactive, so you don't have to know anything about vibe coding and or coding in general. And this is going to walk you through all the different components of it and show you with each element what what's involved, how it connects to the other parts. I haven't necessarily said that piece yet, but connectivity to the other parts is going to be an important thing to see. So we'll find interesting ways to tie all this information together. I think we'll create a couple of different views here. One where, actually, let me talk about this. I think it could be valuable to consider some different views, like one that is more like chronological in the sense of the order that you have to do things in order to make all this work. It's, kind of starting from the ground and building up. But also, here's like a web where the different nodes are connected. And then there's the relationships to the different elements within the thing. So you could click on, while I'm looking at component, for instance, it's going to mention view or page. I can click on that, and that's going to take me over to that area of knowledge. So just a really good relational database, but with different views to look at to be able to learn the information. And then the detail view kind of is where the gets a bit more immersive. We'll maybe you can tell me if what we prompted already has some element of this, or if this would be an addition. So if you're new here, I use my uh, voice memos on my phone to record prompts because I've lost too many prompts due to talking and working at the same time and not realizing that I was out of the place I was supposed to be at. But like what just happened. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to Claude while it builds. I'm going to ask this question. So I have programmed the button on the side of my iPhone here. This is a customizable button to be my voice recorder. So I can hold that down, and that is going to be the thing that uh, starts the recorder, and holding it down also stops it. And you get a nearly instant transcript of your voice memos in there. All right. One of the things that's interesting about this work is not just the actual vibe coding side of it, but the media side of it, and having the cadence of doing these sessions and thinking about connecting with my audience and teaching them something, and thinking about how to make it entertaining enough and give it some flair. Not a lot of folks, leave comments, and that's fine by me. Some days are busier than others. Some days I'll get a flood of Twitch streamers coming in watching, but generally speaking, it's often pretty quiet. And now what happens is I go out into the community and I talk to people, and they say, "Oh yeah, no, tune into your vibe coding sessions sometimes and see what you've got going on." And I don't expect many people to be diehard, you know, viewers. I've got you, Michael. You're my tried and true. Um, and then a few others, but generally
Tuned
speaking,
into
I don't know
Channel
who's out there
RVA,
watching, and that's
the
kind of
media
fun.
hub for independent creators.
But I do know that people
Subscribe
are
at
watching, which is when
channelrva.com.
you only have a couple of people in the view numbers, and you have a couple of people in the comments. You might think you're broadcasting to nobody out there, but there are follow-on views on YouTube, so you can see these videos over there, and I can watch the count on them, and I know which ones are more productive if you want to count from an impact perspective. But often I think it's the thing I build is the thing that's going to have the most impact. It's not so much the media side of it, but I'm doing all this admittedly selfishly because I get to build things and learn and get attention and not work so hard at the marketing piece of things. We can leverage all of this to fuel our media network. We can leverage it to win business. I win business. I have people consider me for opportunities all the time as a result of the work we're doing here. You're not seeing the things that I build for my clients because we can't share those things until they are done. Go ahead and push that up there. But right now, my immediate reaction is fast build, light light compute, but it is very text heavy and not very visual, which was the whole point of doing this. I'm not going to spend too much time over there now because I've seen what it built. It's pretty flat. Well, actually, let me go back and look at one thing. The model, the context, the safety. That's pretty cool. The components in our application are not begging for interactivity enough. Um, it's not clear that you can flip some of the tiles over and click on some of the things. It says it in the text, but it does a poor job of actually inviting people to do it. We need to have some animations that preview like how those things work so that we can drive people to take the step that it feels natural. I haven't seen the build yet, but tell me if that's something that we've considered yet. One of the things that a lot of builders overlook, or maybe they don't spend enough time on, is the user interface, the user experience. Uh, the whole thing in that world is about reducing friction for the user. And as a psychologist would be a really good person to talk to if you wanted to know anything about user experience because it's all based off of our sort of fickle nature as humans. Sociologists would be another one that you could talk to be able to get some insights in this world. But we spend a lot of time thinking about micro moments because they matter. People spend very, very little time. Um, I might have lost what I was going to say next, so let me just say this. Taking the extra time to make it easy for people is always worth it. It might seem like it's extra work, but and some people aren't necessarily good at that, but it is a necessity in this work. You have to, if you want anybody to use your tools, if you want anybody to use what you've built, you have to go to the lengths to, put your. So we have a saying at Exponent 21 that says, "Take your shoes off." We say it because you can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes if you haven't first taken your shoes off. And we could go far enough to make it a literal exercise where you take your shoes off, but the office might smell bad, so we won't do that. Virtual sessions, we could do it. The symbolism is real. It helps you stop and think about a person who knows nothing, a person who doesn't. Uh, it's just come to it for the very first time. What are they going to see? What are they going to feel? My experience tells me that this is okay, but it's somewhat text heavy here, so it feels pretty natural of an experience. There's multiple ways to. I wonder how long it would take to go through this whole thing. This is the fun part. I'm gonna close out of that for now. One thing that I'm thinking about now is, we want people to actually do this and learn. So let's make it even easier to invite them into the sessions by indicating what the lesson duration is, how long it's going to take roughly to read and interact with the thing. And that way we can boil it all up into a marketing landing page where uh, people have to just fill out a quick form to access it. Do magic links on this site only. The marketing page is so it's just important that we convey to people before they ever interact with something what is inside so that we can essentially sell them on using their time in this way. This is an essential part of communications. I don't know why I love this so much, but every time I touch one of these things, it's like, how could we make it better? And it's my brain is working over here, guys.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators.
That's
Subscribe
my
at
cue
channelrva.com.
to plug my media home, Channel RVA. Lots going on over there. You can take a look. This menu is a little bit unruly, but you can kind of see everything that's happening here. One thing that we announced yesterday, which is kind of exciting, is we're going to be doing some group travel, and that'll be a new feature. But that's going to be for subscribers only. So you won't see it on the front of the website. You'll have to be a subscriber to actually get that information. You'll see in your newsletter. However, that's just a quick plug there and letting you know we appreciate your support as a subscriber, especially if you're in the Richmond market. If you're someplace else, Richmond is, I think I saw the second fastest growing metro in America, according to LinkedIn, up from number 13 or 16 last year. I can't remember the exact number now. Come on, we'll take you. All right, I'm going to do a voice prompt over here so I can be looking at this while it builds. One of the things that I want to do here is I often build things with a sort of philanthropic mind, but I also need to do business. So let's give Exponent 21 its flowers at the bottom here. People looking to have projects built, we're here. Also, builders who are looking for internship opportunities or work, we are looking to put people to work. The more projects we get, the more we can do that, though. So maybe we can kind of tell that story briefly and uh, generate some empathy for the people who are on this. I think that it would be good for us to integrate this live vibe coding curriculum as a link and a promotional thing inside of Liberating Facilitator, which we should check on that project to make sure it's healthy, uh, see how our user base is doing, and just see if we've had any recent signups. I could probably do a better job making that work for Exponent 21 as a feeder of business. But what I want to make sure that we do is for the folks that are giving, generating clarity through the Liberating Facilitator application, they want to take that idea to a build that they can have. This is a pipeline for that. And we want to make sure people know that this exists. Another place that this could be useful is we could integrate this into studio.willmelton.com in a smart way. And so I want you to go ahead and use your skills to give me separate prompts for those two projects. Go ahead and make the improvements that I'm asking for on this project. And then I'll start new chats to keep my context window short and save some compute today. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, we're in the world of needing to manage our compute. You can use a whole lot of compute that you don't need to use. This one's already a pretty lengthy context window. So I'm going to switch off of talking to this guy. But you can quite literally see this being built as I go. And what's happening is, I'm allowing Claude to be like, a work partner and an accountability partner. So there are details that um, I'm not tracking with in my brain because I'm talking to you. Claude is doing it for me. So Claude is remembering what we've talked about previously. It knows what it's prompted lovable and what lovable's built. It can both remember what we said to it and also read the code and the database and everything else. So that Claude connector is super powerful. And also the other thing it's doing for me is keeping my emotions and sort of biases out of the prompts that go into Lovable. And what I mean by that, and I talk about this quite often, is if I'm frustrated or I feel like, or if I'm focusing maybe too much on one thing, that can throw the lovable agent into a focal sort of loop, if you will, where it could potentially lose sight of what the overall goal is, which is, some kind of business goal. Not, we need this button over here to do X, Y, and Z, which if you keep pushing and trying to make that button do a thing and it's not doing it and you're just working on that button all the time, you get into a place where the context window is really focused on, well, we need to make a button. Well, no, you need a really great application. And sometimes reminding the agent that can be helpful. But the prompts that Claude gives to the lovable agent are more detailed. And it takes fewer prompts to get a positive outcome. And it also uh, we move on quickly. We're not focusing the agent on one thing too many prompts in a row, and that keeps its context window kind of broad and focused on the big picture. Fewer prompts allows that to be a more efficient sort of process. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to Claude and I'm going to start a new chat. I'm just going to start a regular chat here. No context window necessary. That was part of the reason to get these prompts generated. I need to give it a URL. That's funny. Okay. So the URL, we'll just say I swear the keyboard is the least productive input device known to man. Maybe the mouse is, but I love talking. It's much, much more efficient. Okay. And I'm going to open up Claude again and start another chat. This is all right. So this is how it's like a matter of opportunity. The way I see this is, you start working on it, and you. Oh wow, I like that. That's cool. All right. I also want to give people my lovable URL so that they can get 10 free credits over there. And that could be something that maybe is an anchored link on the right
You're
side.
tuned into channel
It
RVA,
can't interfere with the
the
content.
media hub for independent creators.
Maybe it's in the
Subscribe at
menu at the top. That could work if
channelrva.com.
it's static. Could also be a promo card beneath the switch to graph view on the sequential view. All right. Sometimes I get into this. I click back and forth between things and I can't keep up with what's going on. So let's get this published so you guys can actually play with this guy. Um,
It's 2 o'clock.
this is relatively flat. Um, the whole site is kind of flat in color and vibrance, but I kind of like this. It should exist on the homepage too. Um, but as I think about all this, I recognize that we have kind of this suite of tools and trying to tie it all together and give people the fuller picture. We have onscreengames.com that we can integrate into this. Like this section kind of becomes beyond the lessons. Onscreengames.com is a great place to learn about conversion optimization and how you build different widgets and tools to be able to make that happen. That's really granular level thinking. Similarly, I think liberating facilitator is another thing to promote here because a lot of builders don't necessarily know the process of getting user feedback and input and uh, how critical that is before you start building. And also, as you build, you want to get people to give you that feedback as well. So it sounds like um, all that's on this site. But you can give me some recommendations for what we could do on the other websites too. I don't think I want to link to Vibe Coding 101 from on screen games. Almost done here. Today's build.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
So I am hopping over to AWS. I use Lightsail for my WordPress site, which is still powering exponent21.com for the time being. And my DNS is also over there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this published to a domain. Let me do a couple of things here. I did the wrong thing. Let's see if I can do this from over here. They keep changing this. I couldn't find the add domain button. Okay. All right, that's done. So you guys always see me, if you watch this, you see me do this. But DNS, there you go. I think we need to give some treatment to the footer as well. It's been, we've evolved the project since we wrote the footer. The nodes aren't properly connected. Send that one and then give me a context dump that I can put into another chat. I'm getting deep on this one. I'm probably going to go for about, say, 23 more minutes today. We're going to make this a 90-minute session because I'm actually really happy with all of this. Also, here in the screenshot, you can see where we have another view where the transparency in the background is making it hard to read the text. Um, I had mentioned this before to the other agent, but it didn't address it throughout the different views. It just did it here. Also, in this particular view, when I hit the play button, the animation goes too fast. I can't read the text inside. There's a little bit of clunkiness in the interactivity of some of these things as well. All right, and today I've got to publish that guy because we have. Let me just see if we have this live. We're live. I still don't like that thing on there. Partly because I don't know if that's actually going to. Okay.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
Just giving a little plug to Channel RVA. If you haven't gone into my RVA, this is where you have your personalized hub. You can access all your stuff. I won't say more. Check it out, channelrva.com. Get back into it if I can find my mouse. In the previous chat, I had mentioned doing a magic link login functionality. We put a lot of emphasis on no account required, but it could be beneficial for people to have an account so they can track their progress. And it would also be good for us to know how much time they spent on each module and whether they interacted with the whole thing. We can actually give people sort of a micro credential, if you will. I don't know if you can call it that, but Um, we can certify that they've gone through the course with technology, so why not give them that? And we can emphasize, we can push. I think it's more valuable for us to know who is using this platform. So the no account required piece, I think, is not something we want to emphasize. I also think that the footer might be just a little bit busy with links in the very bottom. I think we already list all the other links. We don't need them repeated down there again. The bottom of the footer. And it's 2026, so we need to update the copyright year and make it dynamic so that it changes in the new year. Do we have any email drip sequence set up in Liberating Facilitator? If not, we're missing an opportunity. These buttons are too close to the text. When I hover over them, they actually almost touch the text. And the two different button styles is not really desirable here. It's too busy breaking down the read time and demo time. Just have the one pill that has the total time. There should be something on the modules.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
Save their progress. Create an account. It's not enough to have it just on the home page. Also, we probably need to wire up with resend, which I already have the domain authorized, so we just need to go ahead and turn it on. Um, and I can give you a key. Also, whenever I click on a module from the graph, I was under the impression that we were going to be opening up the module as a modal, but you opened up a mini modal, and then I click into the actual full module, and then that's missing the sequence on the left. So it's like kind of, if you just think through the experience, it's very clunky. Maybe the interactive elements aren't really good to be a modal, so we could. There's a little bit of a clash here because there's this expectation you're switching back and forth between views when you're just going back into the module anytime you click on something from the graph. We can keep the modals as they are, but just recognize that if we're going to take people to the module, we need to show them all the lessons on the left. Also, one of the things that I'm noticing is that the transcript for this is kind of crap, and I think it's because there's music playing. I don't know if that's exactly what's going on, but I have much more success with my phone as from an accuracy standpoint. In this chat sequence, I told you about the problem with transparent elements, and I said that I wanted us to go through all of the modules and fix them all. Here we are, I'm looking at it, and it's still not fixed. That's not acceptable. Do not let the lovable agent off the hook for this. There continues to be a glitch in the graph where some of these are not sitting on the point in the graph itself. And when I hover over the cloud, for instance, it has some wonky behavior where it's flipping back and forth between its current position and its intended position. There's something wrong with the physics of this, if you want to call it that. I don't know what it is. It wasn't even picking that up. All right. There's something wrong with the physics of this because this isn't positioned properly. The cloud, for instance, whenever I hover over it, it flips back and forth between its current position and the place it should be. Something's still not right with the graph. Well, hey, Sager, how you doing? What I'm doing today is building a platform to educate people on vibe coding. Sorry if I'm getting to you a little bit late if you're still hanging out with me. You can check it out at vibe.exponent21.com. We've got it up there. Okay. I like all of this, and I think we can go ahead and build it. One thing I noticed though is I don't think that we ever really have a way to indicate that the project is finished. I've got a project that I never closed out. We ran the reports, but I never said like, "Oh, this is done." I could be wrong. Clicking on these links opens up the module in a new window, or just it navigates away. I just told you in a previous remark that I do not want to see these modules without the lessons showing on the left-hand side. You cannot put links like this in here. These concepts here, by clicking on these concepts, it's jerking me back up to the top of the page. You can't link to the same page. It doesn't make sense. If you were going to take somebody to another component here, that would make sense. We do that properly in some cases. You can tell that I'm particular about the user experience. That's the whole point of what today's session is really about, is helping people recognize the many layers of application development.
You're tuned
Even
into
if it's just a
channel
website,
RVA,
it still takes
the
that
media
level
hub
of
for
thinking.
independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
Let's see how this works. Oh man, I'm over today. All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun, guys. You can check out, let's see, vibe.exponent21.com to see all that we've built today. I still need to get my resend key so that we can. All right. This is interactive, but it doesn't do anything. Clicking it provides no added value. It doesn't need to be interactive if that's the case. And why does it say 3 moving parts if it's 4? There's a lot of information here that's really not helpful. Like the 3 things at the bottom are kind of jargony. I took this step, but I didn't get the email. But there's no way for me to try to send it again. There needs to be a resend button. Here is another example of interactive elements that when clicking on them, nothing happens. It isolates the information, but nothing in the view changes. It would make sense if these cards at the bottom changed whenever I clicked on one of these things, and I think that might be the intention, but something is broken. I need you to check over the interactivity of this entire platform because I'm seeing too many problems. I had previously made a comment that this interface is heavily text driven, and I am still noticing that we haven't deviated from that. We continue to use shapes and text in different ways, but I do not see anything that would give me a sense of like a more proper visual interface. Like there's no icons in here. There's use a lot of numbers as visual aids, but that's still text. I need acknowledgement of this challenge and a proper effort to remedy it across the ecosystem. And I think I'm going to change my frame rate. Whatever. LinkedIn. Okay. I'm going to sign off here, guys. I got some things I got to do this afternoon. So it's been great hanging out with you. This was a long build. I think there was a meaningful build because we got some good stuff done. But check it out. Tell me what you think. We'll find out who's been popping in there and using it. Signing off.